Math with Mr. Seitz. The problem that we are looking at is 3 radical 2a times radical 16a to the third. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite this problem and show how it can be rewritten using factors. So, the first term, 3 radical 2a, I can't write that in terms of the product of its factors any further, so I'm just going to rewrite it as 3 radical 2a. Now, radical 16a to the third, that can be written as radical 4 times 4, because 4 times 4 is 16, and a to the third is really a times a times a. And we'll extend that radical line there so it looks a little bit better there. So now we are going to do what we do when we multiply radicals. We're going to multiply the outsides first. Now don't forget there is an implied 1 out in front of the second radical. So we do 3 times 1, we get 3. Then we are going to multiply the insides. Now we're going to get radical first. And we're going to put 2 times a, multiply that by 4 times 4, multiply that by a times a times a, extending the radical as we go. Now, this looks a little bit messy, so I'm going to try to organize it a little bit better. I'm going to put the a's next to each other, and all the 4's, they're already next to each other, but we'll keep those next to each other. So let me rewrite this. We got 3 radical, and then we have 2 times 4 times 4 times a times a times a times a. Now my dots are a little bit messed up, so you might want to fix your dots here. There we go. A little bit better there. Okay. So next thing we're going to do, we're going to underline any pairs that we can find under the radical. So we got a pair of 4's here. I got a pair of a's. Let's use a different color. I've got another pair of a's. So what we can do now is, this is something that I call socks in the dryer. Now I didn't come up with this. Good friend, teacher, Miss Goranson, she came up with this. So basically, you put a pair of socks in the dryer. There's 2 socks in the dryer. When you take it out, it's 1 pair of socks. So we've got a pair of 4's under the radical, and they come out as 1 pair of 4's. So I now have 3 times 4, because that 1 pair has now come out. Next, I've got a pair of a's and another pair of a's. When they come out as 1 pair. Next, I am left with this 2. It does not have a pair, so it does not get to come out. Now, a student told me if there isn't a pair, it stays in the square. Now, that works if you think of the radical as part of a square. If there isn't a pair, it stays in the square. So we're left with a radical 2. Everything else had a pair and it came out. Now, we need to multiply the outsides. We've got 3 times 4 gives us 12, and a times a gives us a squared. So I've got 12a squared radical 2. And we are done. This is one way that you can multiply radicals together. There are many ways, but I hope that this way has helped you. Have a good night.